Hey there, internet friends. Welcome to another episode of That Nerdy Site Show, a weekly podcast where the team members from That Nerdy Site get together to talk about our lives and all of the nerdy things we love about them. I'm your host, Trevor Starkey, and joining me this week, Cameron Abbott. How you doing, Cameron?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
What's going on is today we're recording a day later than we normally do because Cameron needed a little bit of time to play through Star Wars Outlaws. I finished the game after last week's episode and finished it very early after last week's episode, basically like Monday, because we had the 3-day weekend. And my thoughts very much changed on the game between the episode last week and finishing the game. So I lent Cameron my copy, so he had all week to play it, and basically he needed until yesterday to finish it. So we're going to talk through Star Wars Outlaws and kind of do Cameron's impressions and then kind of a full spoiler cast. And that's going to be what wraps up the show. But first, we're going to do Astro Bot, which I got to play this week. And then now I'm lending Cameron my copy, so he'll play it over this next week, and I'm sure we'll do a spoiler cast of that next week or something like that. But I'll give my spoiler-free thoughts on Astro Bot first, and then we'll dive into Star Wars Outlaws, not spoiler-free stuff, so Cameron can kind of give his base impressions on the game, and then we'll dive into full spoilers, what we liked, what we didn't like, what just did or didn't click on that one. And so that's what we have today. So that's why we're a day late, is so Cameron could have that extra day to finish Star Wars Outlaws so we could jump in. Well, it was either when we met Saturday night, it was he was going to have Sunday to either finish the game or decide he did not want to finish the game, and we were going to do the spoiler cast anyway. So he did finish the game, as far as I know. I guess we had.
Yes,
I didn't actually confirm that with you, but yeah.
I finished the game last night.
Okay, so yeah. So that is what we're going to be doing. So before hopping into that, if you like what you hear, please remember to like, subscribe, rate, review, share the podcast with your friends, all that fun stuff. So yeah, keep an eye out in the timestamps below for all of those breakdowns. But diving in first, Astro Bot, I sat down and played that this weekend. Pretty much my game clock was 15 hours total. And basically from first trophy popping to platinum trophy popping, a little over a day, a little over one full day. I basically jumped in Friday afternoon, played in a vague, non-spoilery kind of way. Played about half of the game the first night. Came back the next morning, played like another chunk of the game, and then went and did some lunch with the family, and then came back and finished the game basically right before we reconvened for D&D and stuff. So yeah, 15 hours total, but that was doing everything in the game. And Astro Bot is unsurprisingly just pure joy. If you played Astro's Playroom, it is very much more of that. Phenomenal platformer, charming little character, and then just oodles and oodles of PlayStation love and a celebration of PlayStation and gaming in general. Very much in the vein of Astro's Playroom, but with the added kind of development and fleshed outness of their previous game, Astro Bot Rescue Mission, the PSVR 1 game, which I really loved. It was like, I remember I didn't go back and like reread my review or write-ups on that, but I feel like I said at the time, it was like, this is the Mario 64 of a 3D platformer, or a VR platformer. And with Astro Bot, like, it continues to be Team Asobi just knocks it out of the park in terms of like the platforming joy of this game. Lots of fun. Like every level is just like charm. In pretty much every level, you are going around collecting or rescuing Astrobots from around the map. They're hidden around the map, and usually in every level, a couple of them will be PlayStation character themed. There will be some sort of like character homage, and usually they do a good job of like syncing up the vibe of the level to like the characters that are in there. Like, as an example, there are some levels that are like spooky themed and like haunted housey kind of vibes, and unsurprisingly, those are the kinds of levels where you'll find like the horror game characters and
Nice.
Astro Bots and stuff like that. And they usually do a pretty good job of like matching up a franchise within the same level.
Cool.
So, I don't think it's a spoiler to be like, oh, Infamous characters might make an appearance, and maybe you're going to get kind of all the Infamous characters in the same level as opposed to scattered throughout like 3 different worlds or something like that.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of the general, like you're going around doing different platforming, big, vibrant, colorful worlds, or like fun, intentionally moody worlds. Like again, the spooky ones. They still like even the spooky ones have like giant green goo ectoplasm alien ghosts kind of thing. That it's like okay, there's still funny design stuff here. You're also gonna find like puzzle pieces scattered around the levels. Like a lot of levels are going to be like there's 7 astrobots and 3 puzzle pieces here in this level, and the puzzle pieces basically build up a series of unlockables in your little hub world. And like the first one is going to be like the gotcha machine from like Astro's playroom, where it's like okay, once you find enough puzzle pieces, you can unlock that, and now you can start pouring like coins that you're collecting in every level into those gotchas, and those gotchas are gonna be like little like every little astrobot that you find, every little PlayStation themed astrobot you find is like the character, and then the stuff you'll find in the gotcha machine are like a little prop for them or a little extra thing that like ties to their character. And there's I won't, I'm trying to think if I can like pull one that's like so mundane that it wouldn't be like a spoiler, but I don't really want to, like, because there are just a lot of them, and it's like, oh, it's a very cute thing that you pulled in for that thing, for that character or something like that. So those are kind of like the core collectibles are the astrobots and the puzzle pieces. You're going into you'll go into a world, and the game, like when you go in, like as you're going into the world, it'll kind of give you the map, or it'll give you the like, okay, there are 7 astrobots here, and like you'll see in the order of the astrobots, it's like, oh, the 3rd one and the 6th one have the little PlayStation symbol around them. So it's like, okay, those are the 2 PlayStation characters. Everybody else here is just kind of a generic astrobot. And as you go through the level, like they are in order. So if you get to a point where it's like, oh, I have the first and second one, and the one I'm finding now is the 4th one. Oh, sometime between the last one and this one, I missed one. So that's something I'll have to go and look back for the next time around, or something like that.
That was my biggest thing about Astro's Playroom that I wasn't a fan of. It's like you missed like 3 of them. It's like, well, where?
Yeah. The other another thing that like benefits from replayability is when you replay a level, there'll be a little thing that you can kind of unlock at the beginning of the level as you go in, and it's like a little bird sonar thing that you can unlock for like 200 coins, and they will kind of chirp when you're nearby an astro or a puzzle, and they'll kind of like help point you in the direction of the ones that you're missing and stuff. Really, really friendly in terms of like making sure you find all the collectibles. As I was playing through the game, I was very much going through, and if I didn't 100% a level, I pretty much just jumped back in and was like, where did I find, or like, where's the thing I missed? And the game does a great job, even without like spending the 200 coins to grab that guy. Like as you play more and more levels, you kind of get a feel for the language of, here's where they may have hid something, or some of those kind of extra elements. And
so just like solid level design,
really great level design. And just like in Astro's Playroom and Astro Rescue Mission before it, an incredibly diverse level design in terms of like. Pretty much every level has a little gimmick or an ability that you're going to unlock, and the level is very much built around that.
Good.
Some of the things they've shown are like frog hands that basically turn you into an ARMS character. And like as I kept finding myself thinking, this is doing ARMS better than ARMS. And admittedly, ARMS was trying to be like a fighting game kind of thing. But this is very much, you get like big springy arms that you can use to fight the enemies, and you can knock them out, or you're using them to like latch onto a thing and swing or pull. Like one of the big things is like you'll throw both of them out at the same time. They're like one's left trigger, one's right trigger, and you'll hit something and basically like pull yourself back and slingshot yourself to a next area or something like that. And so there's a lot of fun in terms of just those elements. Outside of that, Astro Bot, a very simple character. Same kind of moveset that he has in Astro's Playroom, where he can basically like punch enemies, or he can jump and then kind of hover with his jet feet. And the hovering has a dual purpose of a floating jump, / double jump kind of vibes, as well as the jet feet will like take out any enemy beneath him.
Awesome.
And much like Playroom, the monster design, some of them are going to be a little bit more immune to those kinds of attacks. And it's like, oh, you need to let the thing attack you, and then there's going to be like a thing that you need to grab and pull, and you use the punch to grab and so yeah, the same kind of mechanics and kind of vibes as that, but the addition and kind of expansion of the roster of power-ups effectively is a lot of fun, and some just really cleverly designed levels. And there's so many, like, there's such a love and homage to game platforming in general. Like, while it doesn't directly be like, this is like a Mario level, there are some where I was like, this is like a very specific Mario 64 level, and that's awesome. Or, oh, this one plays with like size, so I'm immediately, harkening back to like the Little Big World from like Super Mario 3 or something like that, or Super Mario 64. And so like the series is constantly playing with fun things like that. Each galaxy that you're going around has a handful of little worlds that you'll kind of unlock as you progress. Each boss does have a, you need to have unlocked 50 Astrobots to break the lock and fight this boss or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you're mostly going through and 100%ing stuff, or even if you're not going through and 100%ing stuff, if you're getting like the majority of the Astrobots, you're never going to be like restricted on something like that. And there's a lot of fun to be had even in like your hub world. So kind of the central hub world that you'll kind of keep coming back to is called the crash site. And like your big PlayStation 5 ship has crashed there at the beginning of the game. You kind of like leave, you fly off in your DualSense, fighter ship kind of thing, to go to the galaxies. But then after you've unlocked a lot of Astrobots, you'll come back to the crash site, and maybe you'll need to go to another area of the crash site, and there will be areas in there that are kind of locked off, a la, you need X number of Astrobots for this. But it's like, oh, you need 10 Astrobots to progress through this area. So you go over there, you've got 20 Astrobots, cool. You push the triangle button, it whistles, and a whole bunch of Astrobots come, and they create a human bridge or an Astrobot bridge that that you just kind of walk across the and it's all like completely random, just whichever ones are in there. So it's going to be a mix of like the normies
the regular ones and the PlayStation ones.
PlayStation ones.
Oh, that's so awesome.
They'll come in and play. And then you'll kind of cross over there, and maybe there will be some more Astrobots to unlock over on the other side of that bridge if you have whatever kind of requirements are needed for some of that stuff. So yeah, lots of fun there, and that's also where like in the hub world, all of your little PlayStation Astrobots are going to be kind of like paired up in little areas that make sense for them to be displayed, and so
yeah.
You're gonna,
Awesome, cool.
You're going to see characters from certain franchises, kind of like, there's the character from that game in the franchise, and that game in the franchise, and that game in the franchise, and they're kind of all in the same circle of things, doing some kind of animation that fits with that character. And if you like go and whack them, you maybe get like an extra animation or something like that, and have some fun there that I can dive into next week after we've played, and after you've played, and we can talk a little more spoilery. But so yeah, lots of just oozing charm in this game. So delightful. As you each galaxy has like a smattering of like mini levels, I guess that I'll call. Like you go into a galaxy, oh, you've done, the big ones where you've gotten all the astrobots, you got all the puzzle pieces and stuff like that. And then maybe you'll go into a galaxy and a little comet will be like flying across the galaxy, and you have to like go fly your ship into that comet, and doing so will unlock a new level that has like one Astro Bot hidden in it. It's like a short little thing where it's like, oh, just go do this little quick challenge thing, and you're going to unlock such and such an Astro Bot.
That's so awesome.
And there are also 4 of the galaxies will have a series of challenge things tied to each of the PlayStation symbols. So like, oh, in this galaxy, I've unlocked the circle challenges.
Oh, cool.
And they're not like actually tied to the circle button or anything like that.
But it's just like that's the
now there are 4 little circle challenge maps in the world, and those are very much the like speed run centric kinds of maps where it's like, this is the challenging thing. This is like, there's no checkpointing throughout this thing.
Gotcha.
You got to go from start to finish. You got to figure out all the pattern stuff to get the Astro Bot that's at the end of it. Like a little alien comes, like you'll see the little PlayStation guy that you're gonna save in this one, but a little alien comes in, grabs him, and then is just kind of like constantly taking him out of range as you're pushing through to the end of the thing. Those are the only ones that ended up really ever giving me any kind of like real, like every mission, every regular level probably did, within 2 or 3 lives, and there's no like lives. If you die, you just restart at a checkpoint. There's no like, you're not gaining lives, you're not losing lives, anything like that. But like, I died at most maybe 5 times in some of those, like the harder ones, versus like some of these challenge ones is like, oh, I died 20 times because there isn't a checkpoint. So you got to go through kind of flawlessly, and you got to have a really good run. And in some of them, there's no real room to breathe. There's no like, okay, I'm at a point where I can just personally kind of like recenter myself and like start going through again, because usually there's going to be something that's shooting at you or something.
Gotcha. Okay, so you got to it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, those ones for the most part are. So those ones, the only ones that really got me like, stressed out a little bit and hoping there was like some sort of accessibility, like a la Luigi in a Super Mario 3D world or something like that, of like, hey, do you want to just have me go through the thing for you? And nothing like that. So it was just kind of, all right, just got to knuckle down and get through it. But then there were other ones where I was like when I like one-shot it, when I get through the whole thing on the first go, I feel like a champion. Hell yeah, done it. I'm a platforming master for this very particular type of platforming. So yeah, lots of fun, and just the mix of like some of them are like power-up themed kind of thing. So it is like, okay, for this one you're gonna be on a rolling ball that you're using that to get over the spikes, and you pretty much need to have that rolling ball with you the whole time. If it gets away from you or something like that, you're not gonna be able to progress. So those kinds of mechanics and stuff are at play. But yeah, just overall, such a delight. There are some in the most vague of spoilers. I will say, like each of the big galaxies, once you beat like the boss, you'll get like another PlayStation character, and then you'll get to go into a bonus world in that galaxy that is very much inspired by that character's game.
Cool.
So yeah, you get some like, and you'll get like a whole, like those maps will be like entirely PlayStation characters
Cool. Oh, that's
from that
awesome.
franchise or from that game.
That's so cool.
And there will be like things where it's like, oh, like this is a very clear reference to this moment in such and such a game, or things like that. And each of those even have like little trophies attached to them of like, hey, here's the extra hidden thing that's in that level that you need to kind of go in and find. And some of them will be obvious just based on you're going through it, and you'll find like, oh, I found one of these things and I saw a little thing that basically had a spot for 3 of those things. So I guess there's 2 others of them that I need to find in this map, and
That's
where
cool.
am I going to find them, kind of thing. So
Nice.
yeah, those are fun, and they also like, those are the ones that, in addition to it being like, okay, this is the level themed around this particular game, they'll also give you like a special ability themed around that character's special ability or something like that. So those were just some of the extra fun power-ups to play into all of that. There are also, in a handful of worlds, there's like similar to like the Super Mario world, kind of like secret exit kind of vibe. There will be like that'll take you into like a lost galaxy or a lost thing,
cool.
where it's like, okay, there are extra like the secret hidden maps in there, and there's like 12 of them or something in
Nice.
the lost galaxy that you'll kind of unlock over the course of the game. And even that is, you'll see on the on the start screen of or if you pause in a world, you'll see, okay, there are 7 Astro Bots here, there are 3 puzzle pieces, and there's the little like black hole thing that will take me to the lost galaxy or whatever. You'll know exactly which levels have those hidden worlds in them. So there's no like, oh, did I just miss something in this world? No, you'll know when you've 100%ed a world or not.
Coll. That's awesome. Okay. That solves my only complaint about Playroom.
Yeah.
That was it. And so it sounds like they've been it's just such a massive improvement. I'm so excited. I'm sorry, I haven't been able to do anything but like be like, that sounds awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Like all I can say is like, let's end the podcast. Let me go home and let me play it. Like, let's go. I'm so ready to play this game. I'm so excited.
It's such a joyous delight. It's so like it's the great design of a Mario platformer, but with that extra layer of just pure love and adoration towards PlayStation and stuff like that. And it's such a delight. I've heard criticisms about like, oh, the monsters aren't like, super standout, or they don't have like the like they're not as memorable as, a Goomba or something like that. I'm like, they're as memorable as a Goomba was when a Goomba was in their first game and stuff like that. Like plenty, and the game even fun little tease in the end credits. The game even kind of like calls out like, here's the names of all these monsters in the end credits. So if you want to learn, and it seems like, and these will be the monsters that kind of like they build the series around and stuff like that. So like, yeah, if I don't think I could have told you a Goomba was called a Goomba and a Koopa Troopa was called a Koopa Troopa the first time I played the Mario games when I was 5 years old or whatever, but like you'll learn them, and if you want to learn them, you can learn them.
Up until I was like 15 or 16, I called them mushrooms and turtles. So I'm sorry. Like, sure. I even I knew Bowser was Bowser, but that was it. Like, and like the Koopa Troopas, I knew those from the cartoon as a kid watching it, but that's it. If you had asked, like, I didn't know that like a shy guy was called a shy guy or anything. Yeah. I called them like ghost masks, or like boos were called boos. Oh no, I just called them ghosts. Like these were things that as kids you don't do. Like you don't know the name of.
Yeah.
And so if people are like, it's not as memorable, it's like, you can't say that because it hasn't been like 25 years, guys.
Yeah. And the more critical thing I would say about like the monster design is, when you see those monsters, what attack is going to work or not, or like you. Well, there you go. You can I might not know the name for things, but I know exactly how to defeat an enemy of each of those different types and stuff like that. Like I know, oh, these ones I can just punch, or these ones, nope, I'm gonna have to, these ones are gonna shock me if I get too close, or these ones are gonna, pump out spikes if I let them, and so like you get a feel for the tactics you need to take out these enemies.
That's awesome.
And I think that in terms of like the boss designs, the fights are always a fun kind of culmination in whatever power up has kind of been like a central focus of that world or something like that. And they're a great kind of evolution of that. And even the boss designs, like as somebody who played Astro's Rescue Mission and Playroom and now this, like I really like the boss designs that have kind of carried over from game to game. And there are a couple that I was like, oh, it would have been really cool to see, like in Astro Rescue Mission, there's a big spider creature that is like a great boss in that game and has a great like ability where you're like throwing ninja stars at them. And it's like, oh, like I would have loved to have seen that come back, but at the same time I wasn't like super sad that they didn't come back. I think there's still room for them either in DLC or in future versions where they'll just kind of like, they'll start kind of referencing back to and calling back upon those creatures. But in the meantime, I love that like they're playing around with new designs and new creatures. And the big bad boss is like the same big bad boss that was in the last one.
Cool.
So like he doesn't, because they're very specifically like, oh, they're not playing around with like dialogue and stuff like that. It is a very old school kind of throwback platformer, where they're not like, they are just expressions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't get like the Bowser vibe from him, but he's very much this franchise's Bowser kind of setting. So,
well, half the monsters don't even have mouths.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Astro Bot doesn't have a mouth.
Yeah.
Like, and that's because when Astro Bot kills you, you don't have a mouth, so nobody can hear you scream.
Sure.
Sorry.
But yeah, the one comparison I heard, and I'm like, oh, that's actually a very apt comparison. I think Blessing at Kind of Funny talked about them being like, they're much more Minions. They are.
Oh yeah.
They are Mario for a Minions audience kind of thing. And
there you go.
But not in the like incredibly annoying kind of like way that the Minions can be incredibly annoying very quickly.
Banana.
Like, Astro keeps his charm and never kind of goes into like a realm, but it is like, like these are characters that are expressive eyes from like their little eye thing. I've got the Astro controller here, and so you'll see hearts for the eyes or something like that, or you'll see like X's for pain or something like that.
It's old school emoticons, like from like MSN Messenger, AOL Messenger days.
Yeah. And other than that is like, like while they don't have mouths, they do still like make noises.
Yeah.
And so you'll hear like excited, yips and stuff like that. Or you'll hear like, that's another way that you can just find them in the game.
You hear their yips.
They're pretty much always, well, like you're freeing them, you're saving them from something. So they're always in some sort of like peril. So you'll hear them like, a little panicked or something like that. Like, oh, like there's a couple enemies, over there, and there's an Astro basically hanging from a branch of the tree above these enemies. So if the Astro falls while the enemies are there, it's bad kind of thing. So you take out the enemies, and then you go whack the Astro, and now he's screaming in glee. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's another way you can kind of like gauge where the stuff is in the world. So. Just like a ton of fun. I look forward to jumping into like spoilers maybe next week to talk through some of like the funnest Easter eggs and kind of some of the more spoilery things of the game. But yeah, like overall, I started mentioning this to Cameron beforehand. In the game, there are 300 Astrobots for you to find, and about 100, almost 170 of them are PlayStation themed. That's so cool. So a little over half. If you revisited Astro's Playroom in the last couple months, they updated Astro's Playroom to hide 4 bots in each of the 4 kind of main worlds. And if you go in and find each of those 4 bots, you can you'll carry them over into Astro Bot. So instead of 300 Astrobots, you get 304 Astrobots. Other things that are like non-spoilery, but the other things that like your puzzle pieces will unlock over time are going to be like extra costumes that you can wear for your Astrobot. So if you want to wear a iconic PlayStation character, once you unlock that costume, you can have your Astrobot run around as that character or something like that. As well as little paint schemes for your DualShock controller ship.
Yes, they brought back the controller ship again.
Yep.
Hells yeah.
So yeah, you can play around with that. And yeah, like each level starts with you like flying into the level and you're controlling it with the controller, like with the motion controls and stuff like that. There is there's minor accessibility stuff in terms of like, hey, if you don't want to do motion controls, they'll map that to like the left thumbstick instead.
Nice.
I never bothered with that. I just kind of kept it motion control-y.
Why not? We rarely get to use the motion control in the controllers.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. The DualShock or DualSense itself is great with like the haptic feedback and the sounds of everything. Like much like Astro's Playroom, like if Astro is like running around on like a little metal surface, you'll hear little tick 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 from, and you'll like feel the little vibration stuff in your controller. There are some puzzles that are very specifically like vibration centric, of like, hey, like follow this path, and when you get the vibration, that's when you need to do a thing. And the game gives you, much like in Astro's Playroom, it'll give you like little visual tutorials up in like the top left corner if you're stuck, or if you're like you're not doing the thing that it's expecting you to do. They'll kind of use that to teach you, hey, here's what you need to do in this space. But it was like never intrusive or anything like that. It was always just like, oh, that's a helpful thing, since the game doesn't have like, a little sign to say, hey, when you see this, jump or something like that. It's just kind of a nice little visual, like you'll see Astro doing the thing, and then the controller, and like, oh, press the button when Astro does this thing or something like that. So yeah, just a very, very charming thing. The real last thing that you unlock with all the puzzle pieces, like getting 100% of the puzzle pieces, I won't spoil, but the thing that you get from not 100%ing, the other last thing, is basically a little photo mode. And
nice.
There are scattered around a number of the levels will be like a little pop-up, like a little cutout pop-up thing, a la, a theme park or something. And it's basically like, if you have Astro go stand in that little cutout with his face like there, the scene behind him will come to life with a fun little thing in theme with the level or something like that. And so it creates like a fun little photo mode moments that you don't get to fully play with until you actually unlock the camera later in the game.
Okay, cool.
But if you want to just press the share button, you can certainly do that too, with these cool little images and stuff. But yeah, and I did plenty of that. There were plenty of things that I like took little shares of throughout this game, because I was like, I love this, like how this looks. Not posting any of them because I don't want to spoil or risk spoiling anything for anybody, but like
it's appreciated.
There were just like plenty of like, oh, that was awesome. I love that little thing. And similarly, like when you whenever you find an Astro that is PlayStation themed, they give you like the name of that Astro Bot, and then like a little like bit of flavored text that is always like some sort of reference to the game that they're playing. And 170-ish Astrobots, there are probably 70 that I didn't know who they were or what they were from.
Oh, cool.
Because it plays with the entire breadth of like PlayStation. So There were like PlayStation 1 and 2 for me were very much like my Final Fantasy machines or something like that. I didn't play a ton of other franchises in those early things. So like there was somewhere like I recognized the character, but I didn't know the name of the game they were in, or maybe I knew the game they were in, but I didn't know the character's name or something like that. And the game isn't going to tell you that. I very much went to like the IGN, like every Astrobot,
gotcha.
to just understand after the fact, like, oh, that was the one from Onimusha or something like that, or like some references, and some of them was just like, oh, that's a cool reference that I never would have gotten, but I love that like that's in there for the people who love that game, and I know don't shut up about that game X, Y, and Z. And in that, like, they did this a little bit with Astro's Playroom, but it's not like PlayStation exclusive characters or something like that. There is like a good swath of like just iconic, like, oh, they were known for being on PlayStation, but they might have been multi-platform and stuff like that. But there's a good number of those characters in there. There were a few that I found kind of by game's end, I was like surprised about a few characters that aren't in there. But since they have announced that there's going to be like DLC and
there's
stuff
hope
like that,
for those characters.
I'm like, okay, maybe they'll do like something of like a very specific pack around certain franchises or something like that. Because there were a few notable absences that I found myself like as I was getting nearer and nearer the end. I was like, well, I feel like the big PlayStation character level of this galaxy, I think could be like a couple things, and if it's not one of those things, it means that the other, like it was like, oh, one of them just isn't going to be in this game, I guess. So that's interesting. So there were some elements like that, but yeah, I think there's still with DLC, with additional stuff, room for that. And the other thing that I know they've already announced is coming is if you really want to get into like the speed run scene or the like Playroom has like the challenges and like you'll get the notification being like, hey, your friend has passed you in this level. Do you want to try and beat them and take back your title or something? I don't care about that, but some people do, and I imagine it will be all of those like secret challenge levels will be like how quickly can you get through this? How can you do it with all coins or like all those things.
I can imagine this being like its own segment at like Games Done Quick or something. Like,
yeah.
Like it's a race to see who can beat it faster.
Yeah,
like definitely. Could
or
see
it'll even be like the way they did it in Playroom was they made those like a separate set of trophies of like, hey, make it through all of these speedrun challenges in under X amount of time. And so you just kind of keep trying to get them and maybe you knock it out, maybe you don't. I don't know. But yeah, lots of fun with Astro Bot. Just a joy start to finish. I booted up the game again, like after playing it. And very much it was like, like on my save file, it was like, do you want to just start anew, or you have like 3 save files basically that you can like play from? And I was like, well, I probably won't just start anew on like this one. I'll probably keep this one, but maybe I'll start new on or start fresh on save file 2 or something, and just kind of like go back in. Especially after now playing through everything, I think I would like the other way to approach the game. So I played through and pretty much like was 100%ing as I went along. Mm-hmm. The other way to go would be like play through the game. To get like the full scope of how they've designed things out and how they've hidden things, and then go back and like replace things, and you'll probably just innately be like, oh, I bet there's something over there if I go that way or something like that.
That's a good point.
Just because like, oh, this feels like the way this level in 2 Galaxies did. So that might be another option for you to approach the game.
I might do it that way because but the thing about me is like my OCD kicks in, and I need to 100% it.
That was somewhat where I was coming from as I was going through. I was like, oh, I only missed like and like especially in the levels where you're going to unlock like the secret lost level kind of thing. A lot of those are by design. You're going to have to do them a couple times because if you might find that like lost level thing halfway through the thing, and so you won't be able to go through and get all the bots after the fact. Just based on like where the secret exit is hidden in the level.
That makes sense.
So like some of them you're gonna have to like revisit anyway. There's not a possibility to go through everything and find everything on the first try.
Good.
Some of them you can.
Cool.
But a lot of them it is like, oh, yeah, I missed one thing. There are some, like a lot of levels. Oh, you can go start to finish and finish to start. You're not going to be like locked out or anything. But then there are levels where it's like, okay, once you get to this checkpoint, you can't go back to earlier. So if you miss something, you're just going to have to get it on the next pass. But yeah, so lots of fun, lots of joy. Just had a great time with it.
What would you give it as for review wise?
Oh, it's a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? Gotcha.
Yeah. Or is that a word thing? Masterpiece, that masterpiece game.
I think it's that masterpiece game. Yeah, let me double check the scale.
That phenomenal game.
That's right, that phenomenal.
I was like that. Yeah, that masterpiece game. Just masterpiece, not a great adverb for that.
No, that phenomenal game. Yeah,
that phenomenal game. So yeah, it'd be it's a 10 out of 10 for me. So much fun, so much just like a smile on my face for 99.9% of the time, and the only time that there wasn't a smile on my face was during some of those challenge levels where I was just frustrated, but hey, when I finished them there was a smile on my face. Shout out to Astro Bot, Team Asobi, that like, and we'll talk about this especially in juxtaposition against Star Wars Outlaws, in the context of, and I mentioned this on Twitter, when I finished Star Wars Outlaws, I just let the credits roll, and they rolled for at least 45 minutes. Way too many people who worked on Star Wars Outlaws, like way too big and bloated of a game. Team Asobi, like 60 some odd people. They spent 3 years on this game, and like these are the kinds of experiences that I want. Like I love that this is a tighter experience. If you don't want to like rush through everything as quickly as I did. You certainly don't have to. You can certainly kind of pace it out a little bit more and kind of just relish it. But it was also just like, hey, this is a great, like, it's the, I said it a lot about God of War 2018, where God of War 2018 is like a nearly perfect 30-hour experience that could have been a great 40-hour experience, but no, they edited it down to cut out the fat. Astro Bot is that same kind of vibe. Like, this could have been a 25-hour game, but no, they trimmed it down. They kept it in scope, and it's 15 hours of just pure platforming fun and enjoyment. So yeah, so much fun. Some great music. It's not the bangers that like the CPU song had from the Astro's Playroom, but there are, especially when you play in the worlds that are some of those like franchise specific worlds, they do a great job of like molding in the Astro sound with like the music of whatever that game is as well. So
that's all I want.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had in some of those places. So yeah, and I'm never the big music guy, but it was definitely I found myself sad that there wasn't ever like a GPU song that was just so repetitive and catchy, of like Little Robot singing those lyrics or something like that. There are a couple that have lyrics, but yeah, they just didn't like resonate with me as much as the Playroom ones did. But yeah, Astro Bot, ton of fun, 10 out of 10. Phenomenal game. Had a great time with it. Very much washed the taste out of the sour taste that Star Wars Outlaws had left me with out of my mouth. So with that segue, let's jump over to Star Wars Outlaws for a non-spoiler section first to get Cameron's kind of updated thoughts, as well as like my overall updated thoughts on like why I've maybe turned sour on this game after
those initial hours.
I was certainly more positive on it after the first day or so last week, but and then we'll dive into full spoiler stuff. So Cam, I'll throw it to you first, since I've talked for a little while here on Astro Bot stuff. What did you, I guess, how did you kind of experience the game over the last week, and what were your kind of non-spoiler thoughts on it?
Sure. So I finished most of Toshar before I realized that kind of like what my final thoughts are on this game, and like were continued to be proven through the rest of it. I decided to do what I think is the smart thing, which is just mainline this game. There aren't enough story missions to, I think, let the open, like, I'll get into the more specifics when we get into spoiler mode, but because of how short the story is in Outlaws, as far as like the actual story of it, I do not think that it lends itself to having like a vast open world with like a million little things to do in it. I feel like that's like it hurts its main story. Because after hearing other people talk about it, and like I spent this morning going over kind of like reviews of stuff, and like as far as just like I want to know what people thought about the story, because I remember hearing initial thoughts, initial reviews, non-spoiler reviews, like having a very strong opinion about the story that I didn't necessarily agree with. But then I remembered that I was like, well, I didn't do I'm gonna 100% everything. I have some like trainers and stuff that I didn't even like meet and talk to. Because I was just like mainlining this as much as possible. Yeah.
For the abilities.
Yeah, for all the abilities and stuff. And we'll get into like a lot about that, because I think we have a lot of thoughts about like the overall design of this game. But my real brief thoughts is that this game's not fun. This is not a fun game to play. And it is in strict contrast to a world that is fun to be in. Star Wars is a fun galaxy. The galaxy, this portion of the galaxy, this slice of the galaxy that Massive put together for this game is fun as hell. I love that there's Sabacc, and like real ass Sabacc. And why is Sabacc different in some source materials than others? Well, it turns out every planet has their own rules about Sabacc.
Yeah, we talked about that in last week's.
And I'm like, I love that level of immersion. This is the most immersive experience of Star Wars that I think we've ever had. outside of like going on like to Star Wars Land in Disneyland. Like, it's so good. There's the multitude, and I can't give them enough credit for this. The multitudes of aliens that are in this game.
Yeah. Aliens, like the creatures that you can find kind of scattered all over the world.
The creatures, but also the different species. They put in so many species that are most time just like kind of like, oh, these species exist, or they might show up like once in like a background scene in another game. They are full front and center. There are multitudes of them. I couldn't find and I didn't think they looked very much, so they could be there, but I didn't find like duplicates outside of, and I'll say this, outside of enemies. Enemies, duplicated as hell. So goddamn basic, but like no merchant, just because they're the same race, looks the same necessarily. There's always different accoutrements, different like accessories. They have different outfits. And there's a culture to each of these planets that's felt. And I'm like, this is great. This is what I want to say. The OCD brain in me wants to beat this game and 100% it because I like being in this world. But this game being so unfun to play just has me saying no. Absolutely not. You'll give a final review on yours as well. I'll put my final review right here. This is a 5.5 for me. That mediocre game. I can't get into too many details about why the gameplay suffers for me without getting into spoilers, because a lot of what my experience was like story missions. But there is a DNA that I see in this game that comes from the Division games, and that DNA should have been left behind. And it comes to Kay's movement. But it also comes to like other assets and like other aspects of it, not assets, other aspects of it as well. But the basic movement to movement, that moment to moment gameplay in this game is not good. It is not fun. It is just uninteresting. Like, this is space combat in Star Wars. How is it so bland and uninteresting? And it's not because there's no lightsabers in this case. That's not the case at all. It's between enemy AI, like combat AI, between level design, between so many different things. It's like, it's just not good. It doesn't feel good to play.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we talked about last week is the game has a huge reliance on stealth, but doesn't have great stealth mechanics.
It has very poor stealth mechanics, especially a part of the game later on.
Yeah, and so I talked about it a little bit last week, and then when you were over for D&D the other night, we talked that you had encountered the exact same kind of struggles of like, oh, you go into like an Imperial outpost and you spend 30 minutes slowly, methodically, like knocking out enemy by enemy, stormtrooper by stormtrooper, but then suddenly you get spotted by somebody you didn't see coming or something like that, and now the whole base is on alert, and just endless waves of enemies are going to be coming at you. There's no, like, you either have to flee and, start over again, or you try and fight it out, but most likely you're going to die in that kind of shootout and start over again. And you're back to the beginning before you infiltrated that base. And so, the 30 minutes you spent slowly picking away enemies, just all wasted. There's not great checkpointing in those kinds of scenarios. And it's incredibly frustrating because, there's like, if you're uncovered, there's no real like reset option for you. You might be able to like hide, and maybe they'll come back and be like, we lost him. And then you can kind of like restart. But if too many people see you, or your wanted level rises too much,
it's over.
There's basically like a ceiling or a floor that like, oh, I can't get less noticed than I am now, even because they're too on alert for me. And so lots of like pain points around that. And like some of it comes down to, hey, when Nyx is really the only thing you can use as a distraction, okay, but you can't really like rely on Nyx as a distraction when enemies are, spotting you or seeing you. It is like, okay, now I just need to shoot and hope that I kill these things before they kill me. And I got shot a couple times, but the the health meter didn't like I didn't have my eyes focused on that, so I didn't realize that suddenly I'm down to less than a bar of health. And okay, I'm gonna try and get my Bacta Inno, but somebody killed me, and I didn't heal in time. Yeah, very unsatisfying in a lot of those elements, and frustration. And that's like just circling back to like my thoughts following the last bit of the game that I played. When we talked last time, I had pretty much gotten to like the second planet.
Yeah.
And I'd started doing a little bit of stuff there. And from then on, as I too largely mainlined the kind of missions rather than like waste time, building up my relationship with this faction only for like a story mission to completely fuck me over in that regard.
Yep,
I
have thoughts about that. I have plenty of thoughts about that.
I was like, I'm just gonna mainline the story mission because I had at least been tipped off of like, hey, do that, and then go back and do like the faction stuff afterwards. And yeah, so I mainlined the story stuff, and between just how repetitive a lot of the stuff became. And like unsatisfyingly repetitive. That was frustrating. And then just the like, and maybe the game, maybe they built the like the loop of the game to not just mainline it. Maybe they were expecting you to go and do more of these things so that you could like, build up some of your extra abilities or something like that. But at the same time, like, you're not leveling up. You're not getting significantly stronger. There are a few abilities where if you do the things you'll unlock, you'll get like a little bit more health for K.
Yeah.
But like you're not, and like you can, dump some like upgrade parts into your blasters to, maybe you can reload the blaster a little bit quicker. Or you do a little bit more damage. But like it's not an RPG in terms of like, oh, I'm going from level 1 to level 40, and now as a level 40 character, I'm so OP and I can just wreck shop. There is nothing like that. You are kind of constantly at the same level of like vulnerability you are at the beginning. I guess a little bit there. Like if you play with like the adrenaline rush mechanic that they have, that's basically like the Red Dead Redemption Deadeye.
Yeah.
Like you can upgrade that from like, oh, I can take out 3 enemies in one go to take out 5 enemies in one go. And I in particular like equipped a gear set that meant that I was pretty much always like building up adrenaline power.
The outlaw set.
I think
the red jacket. And
Yep.
That first off, that set is the coolest set in the game. I loved it. The fingerless gloves with it. I have a lot to say good about this game that has to do with like K, Nyx, the design of this game and everything that goes into like the world building. K's outfits are spectacular. Mm-hmm. Outside of like the gunslinger somehow being like a polo shirt with the collar popped, don't get that.
Yeah.
But it's very much like, it feels like a smuggler vibe. Like you get like the kind of like underworld vibe from her outfits, and that's cool.
So we'll talk a little bit about that in spoiler-filled stuff.
Sure.
I ultimately in the spoiler-free stuff, I ultimately felt very underwhelmed by K as a smuggler. Like,
oh, for sure. I meant by the outfits.
She either isn't a good smuggler, or the game tries to like play it both ways, where it's like, no, she's a smuggler, but she's not really a smuggler. So like it, I did not like, and that like
that'll get into story stuff. Yeah, I agree with you
ultimately,
on that.
It like
I meant outfit.
Gotcha. My score probably in line with yours, 5 or 5.5. Like I agree, it's a mediocre game. I found myself the last day and a half screaming so often at my TV screen, like,
I know,
this is not fun, this is a bad game. It was very much the most I've been aware that you have moved out, because I was very free with how loud I was screaming and how freely I was with my obscenities, in a way that I would not have been if I knew you were just in the other room. I would have tamped my emotions down. Or
I'm glad you got
to.
I'm glad you got to have that then.
But yeah, I was very, very angry, and so the amount of times I was saying this is a bad game very much had me like, am I gonna ultimately put this in like a 4.5 range, which is that bad game? But there is still enough about like the atmosphere and aesthetics of the game that I liked, that elevated a little bit. Even if I think you touched on it, like you nailed it. Of like, this is a a fun world to exist in, but not a fun game to play in.
Yep. I think that is like the through line of both our reviews, I guess, is, and I think the through line for this game is, what a great world you built, Massive. And don't want to fucking spend another moment in it.
Yeah, and then especially, and we'll talk about this much more in like detail in the spoiler version. As you said, like minimal story. Like I looked at my time when I looked at Astro Bot, and I'd played 15 hours of Astro Bot, about 32 hours of Star Wars Outlaws,
more than me,
start to finish, and I was increasingly frustrated by the story decisions that they made, and I'll definitely like call out very specific things in the spoiler filled stuff. But like ultimately, it was I didn't like the cast of characters, and I didn't like the story beats that they go through. There were like I liked Kay and Nyx's relationship, and yeah, that's about it. I don't think there's any other real like dynamic that really jumped out at me. There are some that they clearly want to jump out at me, but I thought were so underbaked that ended up becoming incredibly unsatisfying. And the whole gimmick of like, oh, you're always doing bad things for any of the bad factions in the game, and so you're constantly backstabbing one faction in favor of another, or something like that. I'm like, that's not
how it plays at all.
That's not a particularly satisfying loop, and yeah, I just didn't. There were times where I was like, I don't like either of these options, but I clearly have to pick one.
Yep.
So wah wah.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll definitely talk into that.
So yeah, ultimately, I think I'm in a similar boat as you of like 5-5, and like most of that is skating by on the grace of like, I like Star Wars stuff, and this does do a lot of like the Star Wars look and feel right. And then there are just a lot of beats that's just like, oh, that was incredibly unfun to play.
Unfun and underwhelming when it comes to story stuff. So if it wasn't for the vibe that they nailed for this game, if they didn't absolutely fucking nail for like Sabacc, if they didn't nail, like, I love that I walked into a bar and didn't hear the same type of, I'm still gonna call it that, jizz music. Like the jizz music in this game is different on each planet you go to, and it has a different vibe and style to it, and I love that. Like, what? Like, you're like, so many people worked on this game. I'm like, I can tell so many people worked on this game, but like
production design of this game definitely shows those 45 minutes worth of credits. Yeah.
Like the graphics work that people did on this, I think I only saw like 3 or 4 visual errors, and I expect out of like, especially an Ubisoft game, way more than that. So like, there's some serious polish that got put on this game in post as far as QA goes, but like, no matter how much QA you have, you can't fix core gameplay issues. So that's also what I realized. I was like, did nobody in QA tell them? And it's like, no, it was too late. By the time QA got this and said, hey, this isn't fun, somebody in QA probably said that, it was way too fucking late. And yeah, and so we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, so that nerdy site, giving it I guess we'll be generous, give it a 5.5.
Yeah.
Still that mediocre game. Yeah. So
just shy of being a that decent game. It would be a 6.
It does not deserve that. It does not deserve.
Ultimately, yeah, a very, very disappointing run.
Oh,
like I'm like this game. Very much since I didn't play Hogwarts Legacy because fuck turfs.
Absolutely fuck turfs.
Very much gave me the vibes that I remember seeing around the Hogwarts Legacy reviews.
Yeah, like
people thought the gameplay was pretty lackluster, but they loved being at Hogwarts, and it was wish fulfillment for the that kind of stuff that they'd wanted. It was the Harry Potter game that they'd always wanted to play, even if the gameplay itself was blah. It was really fun being at Hogwarts and going around those halls and stuff like that. This very much felt like that same kind of thing of like very fun being in the cantinas, not as fun speeder biking around largely empty planets in between, encampments that you have to infiltrate, but there isn't great stealth to help infiltrate them. And yeah, just frustrating experiences on that front.
Also, if you expect, listen, fascist utilitarianism is a vibe and a style, and I get that they nailed it with the Imperial bases on that. Let's divvy some fucking shit up. I can't tell you how, if you were to be hold up side by side multiple images and told me, hey, these are from different Imperial bases, can you tell the difference? Not a fucking chance. And then you would tell me they're actually all from the same Imperial base. It's I couldn't tell. I get it. I know it doesn't nail that vibe of it. Yeah, it does. But at the same time, divvy it up a bit. Some of these are built into mountains and stuff. And that could have been cool to run with. There's one base that does one thing with a goddamn fucking mountain shit and lake and stuff around it. But that's the only base that does that. And even then, it's minimalistic. It's so little. God, I fucking hated those bases. Yeah. And also just overall, we'll get into it. I think we should probably roll into spoiler mode at this point. Yep. But yeah.
Agreed. So last chance to duck out. But also just be forewarned, it's probably just going to be venting a lot of frustrations here in spoiler mode. So
100%.
If you already are I really like Star Wars Outlaws, I disagree with these guys vehemently, feel free to duck out. Not going to feel any bad about that.
We said all the nice stuff up front for all y'all.
Yeah.
If you hated the game and you want to hang back to hear us vent about that, come on in.
Sure. Last chance for spoilers. We will duck into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. All right. So I'm going to start with the incredibly unsatisfying story climaxes that this game gives.
Dude, I don't even think you can call those climaxes. They fucking suck.
If the whole premise is you're a scoundrel, so you have the benefit of not being the good guy, and you give me not one but two big bads that I hate and want to be the one to kill, and then you rob me of the satisfaction of killing both of them in that, you've got Sliro and you've got Jalen who betrays you because you find out that, secretly they're brothers, and this whole thing is Jalen's vendetta against Sliro.
Which could still be cool, but then they do it in the most bland, boring-ass way possible.
Yeah. So
I'm just going to replace my brother. The fuck? What scales, motherfucker? God damn it, I'm so fucking
wildly unsatisfying Jalen killing Sliro. I was fuck you, game. And then it doubles down on that, 30 minutes later when your robot kills Jalen before you can do it. And I was just you son of a bitch, you didn't give me any of the catharsis of these are the people who I've been hunting for this game, or who drastically betrayed me and became the new person I should be hunting. And you kill them both in cutscenes that I have no control over. That is incredibly flawed storytelling in this kind of hero fantasy kind of thing, especially when you're a scoundrel. This should have been a chance for you to be yeah, Han shot first. Of course Han shoots first. Kay shoots both those people before they can fuck her over one more time.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
They fucked her over multiple times over this course of the game. She finally learns and she takes them out before they get another chance.
If they're having when he's you were always the favorite, it would have been great if she would have shot him and then Jalen would have been what the hell? Helmet off. Fuck, you did this all because of you were your brother betrayed, this was all over family stuff. You suck, and then shoot him too, and then before he dies, ND5 or ND7 is ND5 ND5 yeah. Go last order I'm giving you, kill Jalen. Then you have that end part, and then that works fine. But they just don't. There's so many
It was
Jalen was coming off. Jalen was the actual scoundrel, and we didn't play a real scoundrel.
Yeah, it was such and the game tries to do too much of she's helping the Rebel Alliance, even though she didn't really want to. It's shut up. Shut the fuck up.
They fucking caused her to get a death mark. Yeah. And the only reason she's doing it is for ND5, and I'm that doesn't fit with the relationship they have. I mainlined the game. There is a strong turning point that has no basis in reality of somebody who's been sitting on the ship the entire time, only helping out a couple of times. The big shift at being after Tatooine, like he comes in, has a big damn hero moment with the ship and saves them. That could be the start of it, but for you to immediately turn to it being like, no, they're BFFs now. You're missing a massive chunk of how a relationship is built. And this is going to go straight into my next point. Sorry, are you done with that point? I want to get into my next point.
Yeah, I'm good with like the finale just being like, well, it was just a wet fart at the end of an incredibly frustrating couple days of gameplay. I was just like, oh, you also robbed me of the satisfaction of getting to take out the big bad evil guys. What the fuck were you thinking?
Mediocre. It's a mediocre story. And it has so much promise, and instead of seeing Jalen's rise in the criminal underworld as a smuggler, as an outlaw, very much avoids doing any of that in order to keep like this pristine hero, which doesn't make goddamn sense for the kind of game that this is.
Do you mean Jalen or Kay?
Jalen.
Okay.
Sorry, did I say Kay?
No, you said Jalen. I just wanted to make sure, since we play as Kay, that
so I meant Kay. I meant Kay, not Jalen. Okay. I did mean Kay.
Gotcha.
You're playing as Kay. This should be Kay's rise through the underworld, as like you have this mentor character who's like kind of mentoring you, but also
it should have been Solo. It should have been.
Fucking should have been Solo.
Yeah, it should have been the Woody Harrelson and Solo relationship of like, yep, you gotta take him out before he takes you out. Especially because like right before that, your mom character comes back into the mix, and she betrays you at the last minute because you didn't keep your eye on the score or whatever, and it's like, fuck all of this.
And then that's immediately turned on its own head, like immediately afterwards with the flashback of mom abandoned me, and then you get like but now the casino chip is beeping, and it turned like, it was a tracker all along, and it was like, you can't set up like you have no time to hate the mom. Again, they have a great bonding moment, and that's fine in a terrible, terrible gameplay sequence of going through that ISB base. For that to like lead into for Kay and her mom to have like a really good bonding moment, and then here's the betrothed, didn't keep your eye on the score. Okay, cool. Well, now I'm gonna be pissed off about my mom. Immediate turnaround. No, here's your hint that she's actually not against Kay, and then she's not even there. She's not even there for the final confrontation. Anyway, it's garbage.
But hey, you get a mid-credit sequence to set up the sequel for her. You do.
What? Just bad. It's bad. Anyway, back to my point about
ND5.
ND5 is like, okay, so you do that, but then you're helping the Rebel Alliance like right away. Like, they control the parts. It's like. It's just bad. It's bad. I don't care about this Twi'lek and his sister who died and sacrificed herself. Kay doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And she makes it very clear, you're just another syndicate. And guess what? Kay's right. The Rebel Alliance at this point in time is on the losing end of the war, and so they're doing not great things to try to bounce back from being on their back foot after the Battle of Hoth. Like, it is like a really good moment to basically be like, the Rebel Alliance isn't all great guys. We get that in Rogue One with Saul Guerrera. We get that in a lot of Star Wars Rebel stuff, that like not everybody in the Rebel Alliance agrees on how the rebellion should be going about. And getting an opportunity for I expected actually Jalen to turn out to be like a Republic, like Old Republic sympathizer or something. Not Old Republic. Yeah, it still is Old Republic in this case, but like the previous Republic, the Empire, brother betrayed me, ratted us out that we were helping the Rebel Alliance, or we're in just in rebellion against the Empire or something. I had to go there's a real easy case to make a sympathetic Jalen who then makes a harsh decision to choose power over the crew and the comrades. Like there's a line there that you could have rode for that with Jalen, that he's your mentor and everything. But the same way Woody Harrelson's character is like, at the end of the day, I'm going to take the credits and go, and betray you. On that same level, on that same plane, you can have Jalen being like, actually, I have this offer now. I'm going to take it. Mm-hmm. We don't get enough of Jalen to really care too much about his betrayal.
Yeah,
it's setting up he's going to betray you every time you see the motherfucker. And then ND5 is, if you go against the protocol, I'm going to shoot you. Get that up until then, this big damn hero moment. And then it's like, we're BFFs. I wouldn't want to kill you, Kay. just like there's a jump there, and it's not earned, and it's not it's not worthy of it. On top of that, I'm wanted to pull up the names of the other crew members. I don't have them pulled up right now in front of me. I can't pull them up right now.
It's Ankh and Gadik.
Yep, Ankh is fun. I like Ankh, but once again, and this is actually going to be the crux of my issue. What I've been mentioning. This entire time you're playing through the game, I was like, well, I guess you can't have companion characters. I guess like they're not going to do that. And then you get fucking companion characters towards the end of the game. And it's like, what the fuck? Why wasn't I running? Well, Kay works best alone. Fuck you. I have a giant battle droid that's fucking shadowing me. Why wouldn't she use that? Also, well, it's not conducive for stealth. It's like, well, then set up actual stealth elements where he stays back then. Or he's at the getaway point for the stealth section. The easiest way for you to build camaraderie with the characters, it's the fucking Mass Effect 2 solution. Mm-hmm. You introduce the character, you gain the character, and then you have to do missions for loyalty. They do that here.
Or just like all of Mass Effect, of like just having the squad with you and just shooting the shit out in the world or something like that.
Yep.
Does so much to flesh out the relationships as opposed to, these two are just going to be working on shit on your ship. And you'll see them, maybe talk to them if you go like through that corridor of your ship.
Yep, I will say, like, Gadik is her childhood friend who she got busted and she bailed on him. I'm not saying they shouldn't,
who chose working for the Empire instead
over
of prison.
Yeah.
Like, he should be a far more interesting and compelling character, and they just give you that surface level stuff, and that's it.
Yep. The fact that there's hints like, oh, we used to run like droid scams, all this stuff. This all could have been explored in companion missions with Gadik. What about doing, like, instead of having these boring ass repetitive fucking like quote unquote scoundrel missions that you fucking have with smuggling and whatnot, where they're all pretty much the fucking same. Instead of having that, why don't you have like actual proper like droid slicing missions? We're gonna hit this. We need a droid for the heist. It has to be this particular droid, otherwise it won't work. Otherwise, like, the droid network will pick it up. So we have to actually it's like, he's hurt, but guess what? It's okay, because we're actually heading to, I know a person who has access to a Clone Wars facility. And there you go. You get more tie-in. You get more, like, why is Gadik and ND5 with you already? And then ND5 starts malfunctioning because of his wound that he took earlier. Like, there's so many things you could do to make this better. And for as many game systems that are in this game that are pretty good, if not great, that I don't want to play because I would have to play more of Outlaws, the actual game, the moment-to-moment gameplay. I don't care about doing story missions ever again for this game. There's no replayability because it's just fucking uninteresting. You have characters that have like a sliver of something interesting about them, and then you fucking ignore it. And it's just such a crime to it's a crime for these characters. ND5, if he's your companion character and you're going through the process and you're going through all of this, you do his loyalty or whatever, like, there you go. Now you have that friendship. It's right. Like, this is why if people don't learn from any Mass Effect game, but especially Mass Effect 2, giving you a brand new set of characters and making you care about them in such a short amount of time, the only way that you, like, it's just right there in front of you. Like, BioWare did it before they are, like, their modern BioWare. Like, their old school BioWare did it. Why are you so, like, there's a reason why the BioWare formula exists. It's because it fucking works. Take what you need from it and apply it to your game. And that could have done so much to improve this story. Also, out of 21 missions, maybe it's a half an hour long each one. I don't know. I did 3 missions for each of the recruitment people, right? But at no point did I do them with the people. Yeah. I didn't do a cool breaking out of prison, breaking out of a factory with Ankh. She was doing her own thing on a thing, and I was helping her through it. No, let's do a goddamn busting out of here with that, like a fucking prison break, basically. As we're like getting our way through here, we're just throwing explosives. Would have been a really awesome scene. By that point, you have to have the charged blaster. Why not have that be part of that? Like, okay, well, guess what? They're all going to have shields and stuff. Hey, let me see your blaster. Do something real quick to it. Now you can charge up your shots on it. Now you have a thing where you're blasting your way through walls as you're clearing out. I only blasted a wall like I blasted things like 3 times in this game with the blaster. In the story, 3 times. That entire factory mission could have been fucking learning how to use the blaster in combat and in environments and really been fun as hell. Like imagine an entire like C4 blowing shit up experience, lobbing explosives because she's just giving you more and more explosives as you guys are on like a cart on your way out of there. Cool. Didn't fucking happen. Instead, I had to crawl my ass way through like the same fucking 6 assets.
So many vents. Yeah. Real quick before we jump back to like frustrations and stuff, I do want to highlight a couple things that I really liked that I couldn't talk about necessarily in spoiler-free, spoiler-filled stuff. As I was infiltrating Jabba's palace,
yes,
the realization that I had about 10 minutes before it happens in the game of like, that's right, this is between Empire and Jedi. I'm in Jabba's palace. Am I going to see Han and Carbonite in the throne room? And yeah, you come into that room and you see that. You have no context for it, but it's still a
she has no
cool thing for us to see. Or
she just sees a dude that she saw because Solon has Solon, I think is his name in the Jungle Planet. He has his brother encased in Carbonite, and that explains to you they're still alive in there. Mm-hmm. And when she goes down there, she sees Jabba has strung up.
Yep.
Han Solo. So whoever this guy is, he's fucked up enough that Jabba has him in permanent stasis as a set piece in his house.
And then like even in that same sequence, like going through one of those vents and like being able to look over to and seeing like Boba Fett just doesn't call attention to it. It's not like you're not hearing any dialogue or something. It's just you see Boba Fett there, in the palace, responding to some sort of communication or something like that.
It's cool. Awesome.
Cool little Easter eggy thing. Loved going into a Sarlacc.
Yes.
Like some of this is like I don't remember if this
was
like
not part of it. I thought it was part of the main story because I didn't know I had accidentally selected the scavenger contact.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That when you texted me, I was like, I just spent the last half an hour, a little longer than that because I had to redo that speeder part of it like 6 times. Because I kept getting blown up because I didn't want to like fucking bother with the Deadeye shot stuff on the guys behind me.
Oh yeah. That's the only way you. Because again, like therein lies one of the problems with the speeder stuff is like there's no speeder combat. Like you're driving. You can't just pull out a gun and like shoot the other enemies. You have to go into Deadeye if you want to take out any enemies. And fortunately, your adrenaline goes up like crazy jumping around on a speeder or like avoiding. But like it's like. Speeder combat was never fun.
Nope.
But yeah, jumping in or like going into a Sarlacc pit was a fun little thing. As was like if you were driving around in the dunes over there, like the crate dragon that'll come out of the sea and kind of chase after you and stuff like that. That was a cool like thing. I have a few screenshots from that I went in and did in photo mode. I loved. I found out after the fact it's Big's moisture farm, but when they're like, hey, you got to go find something in like this abandoned moisture farm, and you go over into this moisture farm to find like a bounty hunter that's in there or something like that.
It's your heavy. It's the first heavy mission you have.
Yeah. And you're going in there like I was going in there I'm like, oh my god, is this like is this the Lars homestead? Because it's the same layout, and especially I got a much more familiar vibe of it from Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, where you can just kind of go through and explore that in the open world. But yeah, finding out after the fact it was the Dark Lighter thing. Still cool because it's still like awesome. You're in Biggs's place that Biggs died, so there's nobody else in that moisture farm anymore. So that was a cool little element. What was it? I had something else that was like, oh, that was a cool like, oh, I guess not a cool, but I do want I'll call out the obligatory Darth Vader stuff. I liked the reveal that Sliro was secretly ISB.
Yes, I liked
that as a thing, but it then gets incredibly undercut by the fact that, oh, we don't get to take him out. and also that we don't have context for a lot of this other stuff. But yeah, like finding Lando as like one of the contacts.
You told me about that last week.
Not particularly satisfying, and kind of like
I didn't find him. I just because I wasn't doing Sabacc stuff yet.
Yeah.
Or rather, like, listen, if there was one thing that was going to take me away from the main story and did several times, it was playing Sabacc.
Yeah.
Sabacc is so much fun.
So the biggest glitch or error that I ran into was Sabacc related, where so if you do Sabacc missions enough, you'll start getting invited to like high roller tables as like the challenge Sabacc games or whatever. I would land in the Trailblazer, and I would get and ND5 would tell me, "Hey, Quint wants to got word from Quint over in Wayfair. She wants you in for a high roller game of Sabacc." He started telling me that after I had already done the mission, like after I had already done the high roller thing, and would do the dialogue every time I landed in the Trailblazer, including after like one of the big cinematic like sequences or something like that, where like I'm in the Trailblazer enough for the dialogue to start, but then another cutscene started playing, and so the dialogue was like going over top the cutscene, and it was just like I went back and even did I played at Quint's table again to try and like clear it or do whatever needed to do. Nothing happened. So like it just, every time I would like land on a planet, ND5 would give me this quest dialogue about going and doing a high rollers game that I had already done. And I was just like, oh my God, like shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Like
this is one more reason I don't care about wanting to actually save ND5, in addition to the very fabricated reasoning that you gave me. One of the other, like, I did like the idea of like going into this like abandoned Clone Wars facility for,
it was cool.
for the ND5 stuff, and seeing like all the battle droids.
It was so different than everywhere else. Yeah. I like that a lot. At
the same point, it very much speaks to the like, Star Wars is always really bad with time, because it's like, this was 30 years ago. And you're telling me an entire city has just come up over this and people have forgotten this facility was here? What the fuck are you talking about? Go away. Like, you silly nonsense. Especially when you get into like Rebels stuff where it's like, no, battle droids still continuing to function and do all that stuff like well after the fact.
They're actually like, it's like the parts are real old, Kay, and it's like the parts for this droid are like 28 years old, guys.
Yeah.
It's so fucking bad. Like, they're so bad with time. It's so bad with time. It's like, they're brothers. It's like, one dude is clearly old enough to maybe be the other guy's grandfather. Like, holy shit. But no, he's the heir. He's the heir, and he's like the chosen child. And it's like, were you 30 when your brother was born? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, Jalen is like maybe early 30s at most. And like you just... It's so bad with time, and you're like, I thought they were father and son. Like, I thought that was going to be the twist, that like, because they do the whole thing about like, Tavail, like Slero says, like, my family built ships on Corellia, explains why the Trailblazer is important to him. It's a sign of like his family's like his family built the ship. That's why he wants it. And then we get a very similar story of like my family built, like from Jalen. It's, oh, well, my family built ships on... Like, I'm going to tell you a secret. My family built ships. We were rich. Like, I was rich. But we lost everything. And that would have been a great point to be like, my brother, who, like, I loved, who was adored in the family, was angry that I was made heir. And, like... And so he betrayed our family and claimed that we were working with the rebellion. And that would have been like, oh, well, that's crazy. And he goes, what's really crazy is we were... and it'd be like, that would be a great moment of being like, my brother chose the Empire and like his own personal interest over our family. And that's a great motivator, but we don't get that kind of thing about it until it's way so late. And it's like, there's the reveal. And it's like, that's not you didn't give us enough groundwork to make that reveal savory. You gave us hints and lamp shading and fine, but like, it's not great, man. It's just not great. The timing, man, the droid facility itself though was really cool. Also, the Republic ship section, both really cool set pieces. I loved how we've seen the Republic ship stuff in the Jedi games, the Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order and Survivor. We've seen those. They're really cool, well done here. They're doing something very different because there's no force power, so you really have to like finagle your way through the ship and find alternate routes, and that feels cool. I dig that. The other thing I wanted to say, do you have something you wanted to say along those lines, or can I move on to another point?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
My biggest thing that I was hoping for this game is that we got a good scoundrel story. We got a good non-necessarily the good guy story. And every single time it's time for Kay to make a choice, like both choices are bad. It's like, well, both choices aren't what she wants to do. Instead of it being like a good choice and a bad choice, it's like two bad choices. When in reality, I wanted 1 to 3 gray choices, one being like very selfish, and one being like some of them not being selfish and like returning somebody's thing to them, or you keep the thing yourself and you sell it later, like with what is his name, Kordak or whatever his name is, whatever the guy, first Pike, his ring, they said you might want to hold on to it, and I was like, cool. And all it was like Kay bumbles her way through explaining and returning the ring. That's another thing too. It's like, how's Kay supposed to like?
Yeah, that like Kay was so incompetent so many times, or like she thought she was such a smooth talker when she clearly wasn't. Like I was like, this just does not work. Like you're making her such an idiot, and like she had like. It's like she had like an 8 in charisma or something like that.
Yeah.
if you want to go D&D about it.
And she was playing a fucking...
She was getting a -1 scoundrel in charisma. Yeah, like, it's like, oh, like, no, you really need to put your points in that stat if you want to be a scoundrel, and you didn't.
What would have been really cool, and this is part of the problem, this is the problem I have with combat, this is the DNA that I was talking about, is in the Division, you move through areas tactically. You do it tactically. So... you have all these options to hit X to like go behind something, hop over something, do a lot of that. They brought that here, but Kay moves tactically, and she shouldn't. She should move fluidly. And here's the thing, if you're like, well, she's going to be like a bit rough around the edges at the beginning of the game, by the end of the game, Kay should be flinging her grappling hook and just hustling down that rope, like hustling down that cord. Her taking out guys, needing nicks at first, should be moving into doing like, okay, I'm like, one of my things I would have liked, if tell me if there's in there, is doing like running takedowns or something. Like there should have been a point where by the end of the game, Kay feels like such a badass moving through places. She's stealthy, she's competent, she's doing what she needs to do to get through a base as quickly as possible. And the guy's in front of me, but nobody else is looking. Cool. Run up, like fucking bulldog the guy, like fucking grab his helmet, bulldog him.
I mean, yeah, that was a thing you could do, but like they had to be distracted, because if they weren't, they would like see you coming, or like you would get like, I guess there are
there's
some
fast
like
talking stuff that I got.
There's the fast talking thing that you can do, but yeah, like once you have triggered that, you're not gonna get a running takedown kind of thing. There was an ability that I unlocked that was like increase your stealth in terms of like you can get closer to the enemy before you're alerting them or something like that.
Okay.
So like there were definitely enemies where I would like attack with nicks or something, and then I would run up and like take them out, and it was a running takedown kind of vibe. But it was in the same vein that like any of those where like if you like hit square on an enemy that is distracted by nicks or is being attacked by nicks, it's a one hit, they're down and out. If they see you coming, you can like punch them like 3 times and they're down.
Yeah, that was what I was doing a lot. Yeah.
And then there was for some of the enemies that like are tougher, like they're droids that you'll encounter later, as well as like the death troopers, where it's like, oh, you can't just punch them with your fists. You need like a electro rod.
Yeah, there's that.
That like
it was that you have to.
I'm guessing you didn't get.
No, because I would have had to go to another planet, find the chest with whatever piece that was in. That was another thing too. Contact Spear. It's like, oh no, you got to go find this piece in order to unlock it. Well, I'm not doing that shit. I'm trying to mainline the game, and you're saying the only way for you to really do stealth takeouts on any of these guys is to do this shit, and it's not something that's inherent in your kit for people who are mainlining the game and just playing through it to do that. it's just not good. It goes back to also like the level design of like where enemies are laid out. The final level is like 80 droids and like 6 heavy troopers, and it's like, cool. I didn't have the electro stick, so I had to figure out a different way to do it, and it was a pain in the ass to do it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those became like, okay, well, I'm going to turn the blaster to blue for the droids, and hope if I take one droid out, they kind of had their little explosion range, so maybe it'd like kind of do a chain reaction.
I would do that all the time.
And then for the heavy troopers, turn it to the power blaster, the orange, like hold that, get the shots off, and usually like 2 or 3 of those would take out those enemies. But it was a lot of like, all right, get one shot off. Oh, they're getting too close, and I got to run away for a little bit and like get some distance, and then like turn around quick enough to get another shot off, and hope that they don't get so close to me that like I get hit by the blast damage.
Yeah, that's true. I killed myself once doing that.
Yeah, I killed myself a few times doing that. Yeah.
What I did is I used the second upgrade, like the second version of it, like the upgraded, or the second mode of it, where you do a blast radius wherever it hits. And so I would, on purpose, if there was like a group of them, hit the ground in front of them, lie them on their ass, and then from there do the charge up and blowing them up. And that's the thing too. Oh, you can't fully unlock the blaster's mode until you go go find this thing. And it's like, that's an Ubisoft thing. That's classic Ubisoft, but it doesn't really fit with the way this game is. And I'm like, if I spend any more time not on the main missions, I don't want, like, I wouldn't want to care.
The power shot. So you have like the red, the blue, and then the orange. And the orange power shot you specifically unlock after you've done one of the other missions after Tashar.
Yes.
So any of those other missions after Tashar, we both did like Kijimi and went after Ankh first kind of thing. But once you do those, ND5 gives you that power shot. Yeah,
you get the power shot, and then on top of that, Jalen will send you the blaster augments as you complete story missions. So it made sense in that progression. But then, I can't do any more. I have all these parts. I have all these materials. But because I haven't gone and done all the goddamn like treasure hunt stuff for these pieces all over the galaxy, I can't unlock it. Fine. Okay, fine. I would do it if your game was fucking fun to play. But it's not. So I'm not doing it.
I remembered another thing. So while I loved the the fun nostalgia of seeing Han in there. Again, like, Kay has no context for any of that, so it means nothing in the context of the actual story. It's just a fun thing for us to see as the player. I absolutely fucking hated the Rancor fight. In particular...
Oh, yeah, it fucking sucked.
Because the game wasn't telling me fucking shit all about what I was supposed to fucking do in there.
Let's actually get to the point where there's no fucking icons on any of the fucking things except Nyx's glow-up head if you get close enough to it.
Yeah.
Anything else is a fucking guessing game based off of your little compass. And that's bad game design. It was bad in The Division when they did it in Division 2. It's bad here. It's even worse here.
It was the absolute worst in the Rancor because the Rancor is just always chasing you, and Kay runs like dog shit.
Yeah.
And cannot evade a Rancor chasing her. And so it's basically like, I died so many times there just because I couldn't get out of the way of what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. But yeah, then it was like I had no idea what I was supposed to do for like 4 or 5 deaths. Because if Vale is saying something to try and like point me in the direction of it, I can't hear it over every fucking else thing going on in the game. And like the subtitles aren't popping up with like the instructions that she's trying to give me or whatever was happening on that front.
Or so maybe like a side quest thing with the details, or maybe a highlighted icon over the thing you're supposed to direct next to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're only looking ground level. She's like, it should be like somewhere in the room. So I'm looking through the fucking cells that are there, and nothing's accessible in them. And then finally I get hit by the Rancor, almost die, look up, and I see like a glowing dot for like one of the console things up there. And I'm like, fucking okay.
Yeah.
And then I die, and then I have to start that fight all over again anyway.
Yeah.
Overall, not a great time with the whole point. And this is kind of where I wanted to say, another thing I wanted to say is, by the time you are back to my, like, you should feel like a badass towards the end of this game, this should be the point where Kay shows off everything she's learned up to this point to being an infiltrating, stealth smuggling badass. Of like, you took my pet, I'm gonna fucking, like, I'm taking Nyx back. and you should be fucking getting your way through, like the side way up, getting through, doing all of that. Because guess what? It should be fucking impressive that Kay gets in there and does that. And the game kind of gives a level of recognition to that by like what Jabba says. When he says, you subdued my Rancor, you infiltrated my base, like, you do a job for me and then we're good. Like, I'll give you your pet back, we'll be good. And like, I like that.
That's right. That was the other thing. Like, from a very storytelling perspective, like, no, I should have been like another person that you should have let me kill, the fucking guy who gave up Nyx.
Yeah.
Like, no, you just feed him to a Rancor? Fuck you. Like, that is not the worthy death. No, he should have died by Kay's hand if you're going to make me an actual scoundrel, because that is like the worst wrong that you can perform on that character. And I'd completely forgotten about that, but that pissed me off so much in the moment. I think it immediately like blacked it out after my frustrations with the rest of the Rancor bullshit.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing with it is Vale's chained up to him. It should have been like chaining Kay up to him. And then it should have been like, the Rancor's gonna need to eat one of us. So she throws him into the Rancor's mouth. Like, that would have been a great character moment for Kay, prioritizing her life over somebody else's. I don't know, like a scoundrel would?
Yeah.
God. I like, there's so much I love about Kay's character as far as like the performance and a lot of the, not just the aesthetic, but like her and Nyx's relationship. I feel like
I did really, like, in the flashback where she gets Nyx, I was like, this isn't doing any favors for making me think Kay's a smart character.
Nope.
When her mom's like, don't touch anything. And then she immediately lets Nyx out, and Nyx goes and immediately chews wires and blows the alarm and gets them fucked.
And shoots and gets her mom shot.
And I was like, yeah, she fucking should leave you because you didn't listen. But also, she's a bad mom who shouldn't have been bringing you on that fucking
absolutely,
job
absolutely,
anyway.
yeah. like training your child to be a thief.
None
and
of these characters are good.
No. There's so much. Also,
every time those flashbacks rolled around, I was like, "What stupid thing are you going to try and tell me now?" It was the opposite of. I thought if you go back to Jedi Fallen Order, I thought that game did a really good job of like the flashbacks to Cal as a Padawan, kind of like relearning the things that he had suppressed for so long in the like Order 66 of everything. And this was like every time we were back, I was just like,
and it's just a fucking dumbass cutscene. There's no gameplay in there. Yeah. Guess what? We could have had a really cool flashback to her and
you could have gone Uncharted 4 with it.
Yeah, you could have gone
Rico.
Rico. No, not her mom. I mean, with Gadeek.
Oh.
You could have done a cool flashbacks with Gadeek and like establishing their long friendship that ended in Kay's betrayal. Gadeek could have been like, listen, Kay, I know you don't care about the Rebel Alliance, but after what I've seen in the Empire, I do, and you fucking owe me. And it could have really established like, hey, we're not there yet where we're good, but this is your first step. So help me the fuck out with this Viper droid stuff, and I will help you out with this heist. Like, I will do that. And give him like a firm backbone as an establishing character moment of like, oh, why is he helping out the Rebel Alliance? Because he feels like it's the right thing to do. Have him be a moral, and then here you go. Now you're introducing a moral compass to the crew, and he's pointing out like, there's better things to be doing, Kay. Like, you have all these opportunities to do this sort of stuff to soften the blow of when the rebellion comes back into the picture. And it's just like, Kay is totally right to just be like, fuck all of you. Like, you put a death mark on me. You got a death, you stunned me and left me for dead, and I got a death mark on me. The only reason I'm not dead is because I got out of there. Like, you're like, your altruism, your we're doing this for the hope of the galaxy. What about the hope for the person you left to die? And you barely get any moment of catharsis with that one gal, or sorry, with them. They make sure to mention that it's a they, them.
Dennison or whatever.
Yeah, Dennison. With Dennison.
Denny, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Dennison is just like, and Kate outright says, shove it. Like, fuck you, shove it. Like I got a death, like, I'm wanted. There's 400,000 credits out for my head.
Denian,
yeah.
No S.
Thank you, Denian. And it's just like, it's absolutely good for that. I wanted more of that with all of that stuff. I'm saving your people because Gadik asked me. I'm not doing it for your rebellion. I'm not doing it to help you. I'm doing it because I owe somebody, and I want to make good on that. Like, establish case firmly about her and her people. Now, here's where you get a tie-in with ND5. You have these moments where you go on missions with ND5, and it becomes clear over time that ND5 and K now considers ND5 one of her people. And then, why is K going out of all this way to save ND5's life? Because he's one of her people now.
Yeah.
And we see, when you're one of her people, whether it's like Gadik, whether it's Ankh, whether it's ND5, whether it's Nyx, if you are one of her people, she'll do anything to help you and save you. But if you're not one of her people, you like have fun pounding sand in Tatooine. Like, that should have been like like, they give shades of that, but then pull back because they're trying to make her the hero. And Kay's not a hero. Kay does everything for selfish reasons, but they're surface level selfish. They're not intrinsically selfish to what her needs are. It's just like, you betrayed me, you getting used. I'm like, all right, great, let's explore that. And they just don't go any deeper on it. It's so surface level. And it's so frustrating to be like, Kay's goal is to get her found family and to build a crew, have her people. And then on top of that, make sure that like her people are good, and not to get used, not to have her people be used by the rebellion, by the empire, by the syndicates. Like, that whole part of the Crimson Dawn, what is that? I always want to call it Kilimanjaro. Kojima. The entire point of that
Kojimi.
The entire point of that Kojimi mission with the Crimson Dawn was to show that the Crimson Dawn, just like everybody fucking else,
Yeah, I mentioned last week in the lead up to that mission, I had been siding with the Crimson Dawn, and then basically after that one, I was like, no, fuck these guys.
Right.
Fuck the Crimson. Fuck you, Kira. They didn't even get Emilia Clarke to come in and do the voice, so fuck this noise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt is great because the Hutt cartel are consistent.
Yeah.
They are out for money and power, and they'll fucking do anything for it. The Pikes, they have a structured system to their organization. They are very loyal to it, and it makes sense. The Crimson Dawn are just it just feels like they're just a bunch of fucking posers of the real victory would have been won before, I'm like, you're not fucking, tactical ninja people. Fuck off.
Yeah.
With your fucking dumbass, another thing. If you drop a smoke grenade, you should be, dropping out of their, warning thing. They should not know where you are in the smoke.
Yeah.
If my smoke grenade can be ionized or fucking concussive, it should be knocking fuckers out, not just, blowing them back a bit. Smoke bombs are there to obscure the enemy fire or to get yourself out of a shitty situation you just got yourself into. At no point was a smoke bomb or smoke grenade ever fucking useful in my playthrough.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that because I never bothered using them in the first place.
I use grenades, actual grenades. I tried using smoke bombs or smoke grenades because it's a smoke bomb. Pop! And then it's just nobody made any comment about it and just kept shooting me.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes again to my complaint from last week is that the biggest issue is that there's no, apart from in close and a melee takedown, there's no stealth takedown options.
Nope.
And also, you didn't really weigh in on it, but I'm guessing we're in the same camp of hey, all those extra guns you can get, fucking worthless because most of them are you can't take anywhere with you, and or you're only going to use them in a loud firefight. There's no point in, oh, cool, I can get a sniper rifle. Whoop-de-doo. I have to hold up the shot and take a guy out and immediately alert everybody else to my position? No, thank you. Why would I want that? Why is that a thing I would want? Same with the grenade launchers that you're going to give me. Same with there was a power up
with the heavy, right?
I don't remember who it was with, but one of the power ups give you the option to pick up the big miniguns that have the shield as well, and that was cool, especially because I ended up in I infiltrated a base and got in the fucking spot where I was like, well, they're just gonna endlessly spawn enemies in at me. But fuck this, I'm gonna see how many I can do. And I basically like popped up into like an area that the AI didn't follow me to, but they knew where I was and they would shoot up at me if I came in view of anybody. But I would get up there, I would let my adrenaline like meter fill up. And I would walk over slowly with the minigun and shoot enemies, and then like I would drop into adrenaline mode and like do the like, let's see how many of these guys I can take out. And like problem is like, oh, I'm taking out like death troopers, and again another power up that let you double up on the adrenaline rush thing, so you could take like you could hit anybody with 2 shots and it would instant kill them, including death troopers. So like that was a thing, but like best case scenario, when I got my adrenaline meter upgraded to 6, I can mark 6 targets. Okay, I can mark 3 death troopers simultaneously and take them out if I want to. But like I basically just sat there just to see how long I could, and ended up facing off against probably 50, 60 guys and just kind of slowly taking out wave upon wave upon wave. And then just, the problem was it was never ending. So finally, I like left the area long enough for them to like stop hunting me down, then snuck back in and grabbed like the 1 or 2 things that I still needed to grab from that base. And but yeah, it was just like, this is like, I only did that to see if the gameplay was going to change. And no, I like once I got up to the 6th level of like wanted, it was just like, it's just throwing me a few death troopers and like 7 or 8 stormtroopers, and if I take them all out, another wave of the same just comes in, and like just the bodies would start piling up and then eventually disappear after too many bodies got on screen or something like that. But yeah, it was just like wildly unsatisfying on that front.
Yeah.
And also, like, we didn't talk too much about it last week in general, but what did you think of the ship combat stuff?
The like barely any amount that they actually had you do.
I mean, it is very much more like one of the optional things that you can go and do in the,
I wanted to do more of it, but also at the same time, like, I'm just going to say this.
But when they make it the final fucking mission.
Oh, yeah, no, it fucking sucked.
I was like, this is bad. Like, you haven't given me nearly enough forced things to make this the final boss fight.
Yeah, no, there's no major space combat that you have to do as part of the main story until the very end.
No, there's
like one part
when you go to the space station, then come back while you're still with the Tashar stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You still have to do that stuff. That makes sense. Okay, so cool at the beginning of the game, and then you bring it back at the end. Yeah. And what happens if you haven't upgraded your ship at all? You're just fucked.
Yep.
I'd been upgrading.
I at least have been doing a handful of space things throughout. But yeah, it was like wildly like I never had any interest in doing the space stuff, and there was a sequence where like. I left a planet with a wanted level, and so immediately like TIE fighters were shooting on me. And what I didn't realize until after dying 3 or 4 times was that I was supposed to just take out like the first 2 TIE fighters and then book it the fuck out of there in hyperspace, because beyond that, like other things would start showing up, and just like it was another never ending like wave after wave of TIE fighters coming in there. I thought it was supposed to be I'm supposed to take out enough waves, and then I'm supposed to find one of those like little beacons where I can clear my wanted level or something like that.
Gotcha.
It was not that. It was, hey, like take out the wave, and then like when you can get to a different system as soon as possible. But it took me 3 or 4 times before I realized that was the option I was going to need to take.
Yeah,
because the game didn't tell me that.
Nope,
it didn't give me any kind of signal of that like that was my way out, was just booking it to hyperspace before more guys showed up. Cool.
Yep, that is a problem with it. I will say space combat was fine. Like, it's mediocre. It's in line with the rest of the gameplay stuff. It's
what syndicate ended up joining you for the final battle?
Crimson Dawn, just because like I had stopped doing anything, and Crimson Dawn was the last one that had a positive thing for me.
Yeah, I had the Yashigos who joined me because I had like helped them out. I ended my game with like 3 factions in good, and like the Pikes were in very bad. Like bad, they hated me. But like
Pikes were your punching bag for all your missions,
yeah, pretty
right?
much. Yeah. But yeah, it was, like I mentioned this I think when you were over playing D&D, because it was like that moment happens in the final fight where it's like, okay, this is the like I'm gonna send out the feeler for some friends. And I'm like, who the fuck is Kay sending out? Like, what friends is Kay sending out to? And then it's like, because I had completely forgotten that the syndicates was a thing, because I hadn't done anything with them for 2.5, 3 hours of like the end game. It's like you get that. You go in the shuttle with Rico, and it's like, hey, this is the end game now. We're going into the point of no return. Be sure you've done everything you want to do. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and like unlock all the other like ability people that I had unlocked, because there were like 2 or 3 left. And so I was like, I unlocked them to make sure I had any abilities that I wanted before going in. And then I went into that, and then it was just, like you just go into like the 2.5 hours of like just mission after mission of story stuff. And so you get in that final mission. I'm like, oh, the Ashiga are joining me, and I haven't done anything for them in 6 hours because I hadn't been doing any syndicate things for the longest time. And the game locks you away when you go into that final run. So like, 3 hours were like, I couldn't have done anything for any of these characters to change. Like, it's locked in so early compared to like when that actually happens in the gameplay that I was like, oh yeah, this was meaningless because I don't care about any of those factions in general. and then like I was also like, I guess it probably happens in some of the the just dialogue that was happening that I just kind of was glazed over through. But it was like, okay, if they're gonna come and help me, they want the list that that Slero had or something like that. And then
doesn't fucking come up again.
At some point, I guess you told people it was like lost in the battle. I guess maybe that came over the comms or something, because she says that to Vale. She's
Vale says that to
like,
her.
I thought this was gone.
There's nothing indicating that at all.
That didn't actually come up in story. Okay,
nope.
It wasn't that I missed something. It was just they didn't script that until Vale says something to you.
Correct.
Cool. That's just stupid.
Yep, it's so fucking dumb.
You don't have a moment where the Ashiga are like, hey, where's the thing you promised us to help? Oh, I don't have it. We just don't even get that scene. We just get Vale referencing it. Cool.
Nope.
Cool.
Nope. It's a fucking MacGuffin that's absolute dog shit. So.
Yep. Well, that was Star Wars Outlaws and our just wild frustrations and disappointments with it.
It's a 5.5, but only because we fucking love Star Wars. That's it. If we didn't love Star Wars, this game would be a fucking 3 for me.
Another thing I did love, just back in that vein, just back on Tatooine, like going into Mos Eisley and
awesome.
Just like and the like the look and the feel, and like even looking at a couple stormtroopers and being like, I bet you guys are the ones who were looking for those droids. And like they were in the same kind of placement of the like, these are not the droids you're looking for moment.
The block, the like road block that's there. Yes, there's that. I will say,
and like in the cantina, just like or the cantina, the hangar bay that you like the hangar bay 94 that obviously the Falcon was in. Like so much of that visually was like pitch perfect and like spot on, and just like a fun like vibe to
absolutely
that whole place.
Something I want to mention. I mentioned earlier, like, oh, there's so many, like, I didn't really think I saw a duplicate. Every place feels lived in.
Yep.
Everything feels lived in. Everything feels weathered. Everything, like, whatever planet you're on. It's so nice to see some of the people on the jungle planet. They have ponchos on. They have like rain ponchos on, or just rain guard, because they're living outside the city, and so like they get caught with rain. I love that it would randomly rain there. Because ND5 mentions, like, you may not actually want to live here because it rains like 3 cycles out of the year. It does such a great job of making this world feel lived in and real as part of that immersion. And I just mean, like, the streets of Mos Eisley. I've never been in a Star Wars game on Tatooine where you see the streets of Mos Eisley just filled with people doing their shit. Mm-hmm. Walking around, running errands.
I have, but it was Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, so they were all Lego minifigures.
There you go. And just like, also all those opportunities to like lean in and listen to something, to somebody reporting something, or like, there are so many opportunities for this game to like those concepts and ideas.
Those
are awesome.
are the side quests that you can go explore and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the gameplay that like follows those. That's like, gross.
Exactly. Like it's so. This is like one of the most frustrating things about it.
We didn't talk about it because one of the things I complained about was like the the platforming design where it's like, oh, you go into an area and they don't teach you the platforming rules until you're dead by them.
I don't know if they patched that or what, because I always saw those things activate before I got up to them.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was like a patch into it later or it was like bugged for you, but like I never had that issue. Like those things busting out, I saw way before I even got close to them. So
maybe I was just progressing through those areas so quickly that I didn't see them.
There you go. Yeah, maybe. For me, it was just like I never had those issues with the platforming. The thing I had issues with is sometimes the platforming just went fucking janky as all hell.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like, okay, we're gonna move and we're gonna grapple. Great, do this. Jump. Okay, why are you now moving to the fucking far left?
Yeah.
Does my controller have drift? Like, what's going on here? Why did you make that? Like, why did this happen?
In that, I did see one of the people like lauding the fact that one of the accessibility options is you can turn off the quote unquote yellow paint if you want to. And I was like, if I had done that,
oh my god, how do you know where to go?
Clue where to go, because so many of those fans are just the same fucking thing. But hey, those ones have the yellow, so at least I know where to go. But yeah, there were plenty of times, even with the yellow, I was like, where
with
the
like the
fuck do you
yellow
want me to go
arrows
from here?
Like if I'm like, where the fuck am I? And you see like the yellow arrow, you're like, oh, thank God. Okay.
Oh yeah, the yellow arrow. Oh, it's pointing up to a grapple point that I wouldn't have seen otherwise, or something like that. Yeah,
that's good game design.
Yeah.
That's great game design, because also those things just look like a busted part of the wall or something that fell off.
Yeah.
Like, great. Also, by the way, you shouldn't be eliminating yellow lines in industrial areas, because guess what? A common sense, like OSHA regulation would be those things have to be fucking outlined.
Yeah.
So people can see them. Why are they bright yellow? So people fucking know that they're there. Well, I don't know, it ruins my immersion. Motherfucker, if OSHA exists in Star Wars, which you know in a bureaucratic nightmare state that they do.
They don't. No, we know that they don't because of the Death Star. Like,
that's true, because OSHA,
people like pulling the laser beam with like just a big open chasm behind them and no.
Well, we know that was done behind, like that was a government secret thing.
Sure.
So that's why OSHA is obviously like a part of the Empire that was not pulled into the Death Star, because they probably ran estimates, the contractors did on the Death Star, and they're like, well, if you want OSHA regulations there, price is gonna jack up.
Well, we also know from Andor that the thing was being built by prison labor and shit anyway.
And as soon as they found out that they were like not going, like getting released, they were fucking murdered. Yeah, maybe murdered prisoners. Like, oh, you know what? Who probably was building all of the OSHA regulation stuff for the Death Star? The ones that Andor broke out of. Andor broke out of that prison, so they know that never got finished.
Sure, yeah.
So they're like, where are all our safety bars? It's like, well, there was one prison that was overrun, so we lost it.
Yeah. Anyway, Star Wars Outlaws, ultimately disappointing. It's like, it's very much if they do a sequel, which I imagine they're gonna try and do, I'm very much in I'm definitely not picking it up at launch. It'll probably be maybe I'll pick that up when Ubisoft drops it on sale 3 months after launch or something like that, and I can buy it for half price or like a Black Friday deal or something like that. Maybe I'll check it up then.
This game is a disappointment. Yeah. This game is a massive disappointment. Despite the fact that it nails so fucking much, the very core basis of how you play this game fucking sucks, and that ruins the entire goddamn experience. So yeah, I had a lot more passionate feelings than I thought I was going to have, even after I gave you my shocked Pikachu reply on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I was like, maybe it's like, maybe I won't feel it. It's like, no, just I'm fucking right there with you, man.
Yeah.
Like I looked it up, places giving this an 8 out of 10. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your fucking mind with how bad this game plays? Like eat shit. Like I shouldn't be that way. It's their opinion. They reviewed it. Who knows? Maybe it's like that Star Wars or Hogwarts Legacy thing where they're like, gameplay is really awful, but I just love that I'm in Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So you gave it a 7 out of 10? Fine.
Yeah.
If that was the case for you, I get it. That's fine. But like for me, I love Star Wars so fucking much, and you can't. And like, but the gameplay in this game is so dog shit.
Wah, wah.
5.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, well, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you for waiting the extra day for us.
Thank you.
You can follow us you can follow Cameron at RevCabot, 2 B's and 2 T's. Anything you want to give a shout out to there, Cam?
Yeah, we wrapped up kind of like our 90s films and everything with Muppet Treasure Island. last week for that D Plus show.
Kind of our bonus 90s film.
Yeah, bonus 90s film for that D Plus show. I had such a fun time revisiting that film and going through it again. I tweeted out about it, like just the incredible performances by Tim Curry. That is just it. If you are wondering why I was so hyped about that, listen to that podcast. We had an amazing time talking about Muppet Treasure Island.
Yep. You can follow me at Trevor J. Starkey. Staying on the Disney Plus track of things, we will be doing and tying to the Star Wars track of things. We're going to be doing Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, which comes out on Friday this week. So we're going to be doing that D Plus show It'll either be going live Saturday or Sunday, depending on how much time we need to sit down and actually watch the thing. So that will also be delayed slightly this week, but stay tuned for that as our next That D Plus show offering. And then, next week here on That Nerdy Site show, Cameron should have plenty of time to sit down, play through Astro Bot, and so we will basically have the inverse of this podcast, where next week we just gush about all the lovely things and fun Easter eggsy things of Astro Bot.
I'm so excited.
So stay tuned for that. Follow all of us over at That Nerdy Site, or go to thatnerdysite.com for all the latest from us. Once again, if you liked what you heard, please remember to rate, review, like, subscribe, share the podcast with your friends, all that fun stuff. Thank you for listening. As always, stay nerdy and be good to each other.